Hi everyone, it's me. Today we are dealing with something very serious, very important, and that is British comedy panel shows. In particular, Would I Lie to You? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 8 years. British comedy panel shows are something that is completely foreign in North America. They simply don't exist. So I hope you'll join me. Grab yourself a cuppa. I am still working on my morning coffee. We're talking about Would I Lie to You? So have a seat, get comfortable, and without further ado, let's go. This morning, let's start off with one of the best bits compilations. Now, the reason I wanted to do this is quite simply comedy panel shows are probably one of my favorite things about the UK. They are so uniquely British, and I think it's really hard to explain to an American who perhaps has never lived here or has never experienced like British culture firsthand, like what a panel show really is, what it really means, because they are so unique and they're so different from each other. Leave a comment down below. What's the next panel show you would like us to do a little mini deep dive on?
I once stripped naked, then accidentally climbed into bed with my father-in-law.
Lucy, were you drunk?
Yes.
Well,
was it his bed or was it a spare bed in your house?
It was our bedroom in our house, and they'd been babysitting. And so I noticed another presence in the bed, which I assumed to be my wife.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
lovely thing to say about your wife.
Well,
It's just that you look like, you know, you're daft.
it was dark. It was dark. She'd gone to bed before me, and she said, watching telly, you know.
What were you watching, just out of
can't
interest?
I can't remember that.
What time was it?
4 o'clock in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning, probably repeats of this on Dave.
anything better than Dave? No.
We're on sofas downstairs?
No,
What
we
were you
were in
making?
the spare room.
Oh, that's lovely. You've given up your superior bed
Yes.
for the in-laws.
Yeah.
Lee, what do you do when your in-laws come round?
I make up a really lovely, lovely bed with lovely silk sheets and a lovely thing and put that in the shed.
What do we think? True or lie? I always wonder, like, if I was on the show, what would my thing be? Like, what would my story be? I do a lot of embarrassing stuff, so it's kind of hard to pick just one. I think this could be true. I think if you've been drinking and you forgot that your in-laws were staying over, also giving up your bed, wouldn't that be like annoying to change the sheets and then change them again? Put them in the guest bed, my guys. Anyway, I think this is true.
Were you spooning in the way you spoon when you want to have a cuddle as you go to sleep? Or were you spooning in a way which was hoping to just nudge her awake?
As I'm sort of approaching the body in the bed, I hear John, and I literally flew out of bed. Ah! And then the lamp went on, and I'm trying to put my underpants back on.
Oh, you're completely naked?
Yeah. Oh, the whole thing. I'm trying to get my twisted, fell over. It was like a comic. It was ridiculous.
What happened in terms of the father-in-law?
He was very, very lovely about it. And he went, one too many last night? And I went, yeah. And that was it.
What are you thinking?
I
Is
think
it
this is
striking you
true.
as
This
true?
is this
That's definitely
absolutely
possible. I believe he has issues with alcohol. I will go with my team and blame them.
I'm going to say it's true. OK. John,
I think
were you
it's
telling
true.
us the truth or were you telling us a lie?
It is, in fact, sadly, true.
Knew it! Well done, team. If there is not a Bob Mortimer story in this compilation, is it even a best of compilation? Bob Mortimer is a whole separate topic. Bob Mortimer is just a national treasure. And I love him. I love his style of comedy. I think he's just an absolutely wonderful person. I was actually going to read his latest autobiography, the one with the orange on the cover. I can't remember what it's called. If you've read it, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I think he's just absolutely lovely. And also, actually, James Acaster sometimes pops up. I hope he's on this one as well. I read his book. God, that was probably like... I remember being in lockdown. Reading James Acaster's book. Anyway, that's completely besides the point. Anywho, do you guys have a favorite panel show? Leave a comment down below. I'm just looking at the chapters for this particular compilation, and I see my boy, Bob Mortimer. We gotta watch this one.
Interpol.
This is the cushion that I used to carry my pet owl around on. I would have brought the owl, but he escaped last week.
Okay, first off, the thing I love about Bob Mortimer is anything could be true, right? Some of his stories are absolutely insane. I've never seen this episode. I've never seen this cushion owl story. But for anybody else saying that, 100% it's not true, right? Who's going to do that? But with Bob, it might be true.
Dave's team, what do you think?
What kind of an owl was it?
Oh, yeah.
Tawny.
Yeah. Tawny's perch on branches.
Yeah.
So how did you get it to perch on a big, flat, soft cushion?
Oh, Steve, it's so good to have you here.
How did I? Is there a problem here, Steve?
This looks like an old episode.
I have a rare breeds farm near me, and they had to get rid of a tawny owl that was injured. It couldn't use its wings, and I shouldn't use the words, it couldn't use its bottom. For doing what? For poo-pooing.
What did it use?
So, as a trustee of the organisation, because it's just down the road from me, in Warehorn, I agreed that I would look after it. It actually had what you would call a colostomy bag.
Oh, absolutely
We
not.
call it that.
No, you would.
We call it a colostomy bag.
Have I said it?
Yeah, we wouldn't have picked it up, but you did specifically say
He
that's what
looks
we would
young
have
in
called it.
this.
Clearly not made it clear. This is an incredibly sick bird. You can't judge it by the normal tone.
This could be
This
true,
is
you
just a
guys.
lump of meat and feathers.
It's just a lump of meat and feathers.
You had clearly said to me you were going to nurse it back to health.
No, that was never going to happen.
It's palliative care.
It's palliative care.
Palliative care.
It was
Palliative care for the owl.
A hospice for the owl, yeah.
For the owl, right.
And we had some decent times.
Did he have a name, this owl?
We called it...
Did you? You called it... So you're upset, Bob, I can tell. If you need a minute, it's OK. But what did you call it?
Sorry?
What did you call it?
What did we call the owl?
Yeah.
Well, we called him Mavis.
This can't be true. It could be because of Bob, but it's surely it could not.
That was its deathbed.
Yeah. We'd have like a broomstick or something and just hold it.
You're a trustee, did you say, of this charity?
Yes, it's a rare breeds farm in Warehorn. Does family days. Sadly, I haven't got an owl at the moment. But...
So, David, what are you thinking? Is this true?
No, this isn't true.
I think you made all that up.
I just don't believe they would let him bring a dying tawny owl home.
No, I don't think so. I think we're saying it's a lie.
I think you are.
But
yeah.
and I think that's the Rare Breed Centre probably needs to look at its working practices if it happens to be true. But,
OK, Bob.
Yeah, this is
truth
definitely
or
a
lie?
lie.
I was telling a lie.
Honestly, though, with Bob, anything is possible. And I kind of aspire to be that kind of person. This type of TV show, in my humble opinion, does not exist in North America, period. Why does the UK have so many more panel shows than the US? Good question. Britain has 8 out of 10, Would I Lie to You, etc. In America, we don't have anything like that. We do have an American version of Whose Line. This is true. Okay, that's a good point. Whose Line Is It Anyway? I realized started out in the UK. It was huge in America. I grew up watching that show with my family. It was like on every night at like 7 p.m. Absolutely adorable. They did try to reboot it in recent years. I haven't really watched the rebooted version, but there's something very nostalgic about the original US version. However, that was when I was a kid. All right. And I am old and haggard now. Why is it that panel shows are so popular in the UK but not in the US? I like to think it's not just about the format and the points. The winning is secondary, 100%. These shows, the winning means absolutely nothing. The personalities that are present in the show are generally carefully considered for their entertainment value and how they'll react with one another. It's a little bit like Top Gear was often more about the personalities than the cars. That's a good point. I actually, way back when, say what you will, I know people are kind of divisive on Top Gear. When I first moved to the UK, I had no job. And I spent all day applying to jobs and being just systematically rejected. But I watched a lot of daytime TV while I did that. And one of the shows was Top Gear. Now, I had no idea what Top Gear was. When I moved to the UK, I didn't watch YouTube back then. I didn't watch any like British expat-y kind of channels. Like I really went into it blind. I had no idea about just like regular British TV. Top Gear was something that was on often on repeats. And to be honest, I kind of loved it. I didn't know who these people were. I don't like cars. I don't care about cars or anything like that. But the comedy, like the banter and stuff was just genuinely really funny. They are cheap to make, and the UK does not have as much money for the TV industry compared to America. I mean, I think that's probably true. Other than the salaries of the people on the panel show, and of course there's like standard people, and then they bring on guests. So paying for that and paying for like the set and the production, otherwise I imagine is probably very cheap compared to other like more traditional TV shows. Here's an interesting point. The UK has a TV culture based around short seasons. This leaves all of the cast members of those shows with plenty of free time for most of the year. Panel shows are easy to do guest appearances on because they get heaps of fresh new content to work off every week via the news, have a fresh thing to focus on regarding whatever topic they have decided to cover. An actor might have their own traditional comedy show in which they play a character, and it might do 6 episodes a year. That same actor will, during the rest of the year, make appearance on various panel shows. That's a good point. I never thought about that. If you are new to my channel or you've never seen me before, hi. I hope you're having a good time. I've lived in the UK for 8 years now, which is kind of wild when I actually sit down and think about it. And there's loads of things I love about this place. Obviously, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Okay, no place is. But comedy, sense of humor, TV, there's something so beautifully, uniquely British about it, and I just absolutely love it. And when it all comes together as a comedy British panel show, it's a work of art. Anywho, I found this one that I would like to do with, oh, Christ, what's his name? Past master. Greg Davis. Davis. Greg. He looks really young. These must be old clips, which is great. I've never seen these. So let's give this one a go.
For my first term at university, I rented the bathroom in a student house and slept in the bathtub every night.
Huh? For a whole term?
Greg.
Yes.
Before we even start this, can you stand up?
Yeah, he's huge.
In fact, let's have proper perspective. Connie, can you stand up?
Oh my God.
You know the question.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
Well, I just hung off the end of the bath, as I hang off every single bed that I've ever slept in.
No. You definitely don't hang off a bath. Like you hang off a bed.
Actually drove me to change my circumstances was that I was bruising the side of my cheek regularly by waking up in the morning and clanging into one of the taps.
Can I ask why on earth you would sleep with your head at the tap end?
That is a very good.
That is mad.
Yes.
That's a good question.
Well, you know, I was 18 years of age and I mainly lived off Thunderbird wine, so bad decisions were my forte at that period. It was only because of a mix-up in housing agreements. We soon sorted out after a term. I only had to do it for a term.
What was the mix-up?
I'd agreed to move in with these 3 guys and we got the wrong size house.
Hang on, that's not a mix-up, that's just stupidity. There was 4 of you, you got a 3-bedroom house with a bit of a mix-up, eh?
The boys blamed me, which is why I got the bath.
Why did they blame you?
Because I was the one who booked the house.
How did you get into university?
Would I like to USA? I don't want to click this. We'll come back to that. Are they spinning it up in the US?
Sully, what are you thinking?
Okay, first up, I think this could be true. I think as an 18-year-old, you make questionable choices. And I would rather sleep on the floor than in a tub. But then if the cushions fit the tub, then I kind of get it. I think this is possibly true. Second question. The little pop-up said, would I lie to you, USA? Which is fascinating because first I've heard of it, but it doesn't really count as an American panel show if it's just a reboot of a UK show, right? It's like Whose Line Is It Anyway? That was a UK show that they just spun up in the US. So it doesn't really count, but we are going to check it out after this. Vote now. What do you think? I think this could be true.
Marcus.
It's stupid, but I think it's true.
Preposterous to be true.
The taps for me. You don't. If you're going to sleep in a bath, you don't put your head up the taps.
That's true.
I think it might be true, but I'm not going to over.
Oh well, you're the skip. You've got the armband, son.
I might be the
Do you
skip.
get armbands if you're a captain?
Only if you can't swim.
I'm telling you, I don't know if this is in the spirit of this game. This is true.
You would never sleep with your head by the taps, though. Absolutely not.
Moving. I'm going with it. I'm saying it's true now.
It's true. We're changing. We're going for true.
You're saying it's true. Greg Davis, were you telling us the truth or were you telling a lie?
Do you feel, David, any sense of genuine competition in this game?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Then I think you're going to like me very much. It was a lie.
Good for him. Honestly, as an 18-year-old, it's possible. Okay, would I lie to you, USA? USA with Jenna Friedman and Fisher Stevens, season 1, 4 months ago. What?
Welcome to Would I Lie to You? The show of convincing lies, unconvincing truths, and somehow convincing celebrities to be here. As always, our team captains are the uproarious Sabrina Jalise and the high-spirited Matt Walsh. On Matt's team tonight, you've seen her on Adult Swim using her dark humor to stick it to the man, but not me. I'm one of the good ones, right? Yeah. Please welcome Jenna Friedman.
I'm going to stop you right there. And I find this extremely offensive. I know I'm not British, all right? I know. And I'm never going to be. I could live the rest of my life in the UK. And in my heart, I'm not British, right? I am Canadian. And normally I side with North America just because that's my home, right? This is egregious. Now, I understand that this is not unusual to export a show that's doing really well to America or vice versa. But this makes me upset. Can we look at the comments? They're all trying to shout over each other. How long did this last? It looks like they took all the best bits from the UK show and left them at customs. Is this the USA version? Well, no kidding, Sherlock. The tape of hundreds of people clapping and laughing and the overacting, how could there be any doubt? Sadly, yes, and pathetically unfunny. It's the tent. Oh, it's not their fault. I've been to an American show before. I'm from the UK, and the producers and the warm-up people pretty much bully you into shouting and clapping and cheering. Unfortunately, I've been caught on camera doing such a thing. I'm hoping nobody from here ever sees it. I want it burnt. This awful version of Would I Lie to You is about as funny as crapping in your pants with people nobody has heard of. What is this rubbish? I don't even think Rob Mortimer could save this. Another edition of a British show that they've butchered and essentially ruined. This is anything but funny. Okay, this makes me sad. And to be fair, the canned clapping and laughing really stood out. I never really noticed that in the UK version. And maybe they don't do it as much, perhaps, so it's like less noticeable. But it feels really noticeable here. I kind of feel like we should watch one of these, even though I am so obscenely offended. Let's watch. Let's watch.
First time I've disappointed my team.
Okay, let's see who is next. It is Allie. If you could read the card in front of you.
My dog made love to a banana bread that I was serving for brunch.
It's like the Air Bud version of American Pie. Matt, what do you think?
Why banana bread for lunch?
It was brunch.
Oh, it was brunch.
Brunch.
Sorry.
How did your dog get access to the said bread?
The moist bread.
He jumped on the dining room chair and then jumped up onto the table where he made love to the loaf.
Honestly, like, who hasn't tasted something so good it made you horny at the same time?
Wait till you try my banana bread, sister.
Were your guests there when this event?
No, this was about 10 minutes before they arrived.
What's your dog's name?
Cooper.
First off, Cooper, I'm so sorry your name has been besmirched. This is obviously not true. And if any dog got access to banana bread, the first thing they're doing is eating it. I don't want to be... Okay, here's a separate rant. This video is probably so long. I'm so sorry. Sometimes when I talk about America on YouTube, people can be really negative and like everything in America is crap. Americans are crap. Like not all British people do it, but there is a sense of like everything in the US is terrible. And oftentimes that's coming from people who have never been to America, who've never lived there. You just go off of what you see on TV. And I think that's really unfair. It's like judging all British people from a couple of British TV shows that are not very funny or outdated or in poor taste. It's not fair, right? It's not what British people are really like. And I think the same thing goes with Americans. They get a really bad rap online. However, this is deeply uncomfortable. I don't know if you're feeling it too. I find this really uncomfortable. It's not funny. They're trying. I actually have goosebumps because I feel like secondhand embarrassment almost. Yeah, the vibe, the feeling is not good. We have to see this to the end though.
Does he have a history of humping things?
Other dogs.
What did you do with the banana bread after?
I served it.
Oh. What did your guests say when they tasted the banana bread?
This is the best banana bread I've ever had.
No, this is...
oh my God, so moist.
I want to believe you. I believe women. But I just can't imagine you giving bread.
Crummy.
Anyone?
I think she said crummy.
Matt, what do you think? What are you saying as a team?
We believe it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Is it a lie or is it true?
It is true.
Yes!
Yes! Really?
Yes! So, at the end of our Truth Be Told...
I think I need to go for a walk. I think I need to sit down with my thoughts. So this is What I Lied to You, Wikipedia. Oh, this article needs to be updated. It aired from April to July in 2022. And I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot of information on this page. Well, I had never heard of this. This aired on TV, on the CW. Granted, perhaps not the most prestigious channel in American television, but a channel nonetheless. Wow, okay, I really didn't think this was gonna transpire, this YouTube video. I thought we were just gonna talk about What I Lied to You best bits, but this has been kind of shocking. Well, everybody, what can I even say to that? I love the US. I love Americans. I think they get a bad rap on the internet, but let me tell you, watching What I Lied to You USA was one of the more painful experiences of my recent history. Something about it just... Oh, it was reported that the series was canceled after one season. Well, are we surprised? This video is going to be copyright claimed out the wazoo, so if you would like to support me directly while receiving exclusive content, please consider joining me on YouTube memberships. I post a full-length video every week, plus some other exclusive perks if that's something that interests you. That's pretty cool. There's a join button on this video and a join button like all over my YouTube channel page. Just throwing that out there, just in case. If you would like a palate cleanser after watching that US episode, because same. It may interest you in this video reacting to British humor. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!